Hello. Hola, 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 hola. Austin Metcalf. And what happened yesterday with the press conference? Let me get you guys on a big screen. There was a lot of, I actually covered this, but people missed it because I was covering the active shooter and trying to do this at the same time, and the title wasn't on the, so people missed it. People missed it yesterday. Some people missed it. Um, but I thought this was particularly dirty. There's a couple of things we got to talk about, but Austin Metcalf's family was swatted overnight. It's not looking good. Even that's not to be posted that. I don't have a website. And this guy Dominique Alexander, this is the guy that did the press conference yesterday. Okay, I don't know if you guys remember that. I guess the guy did the press conference yesterday. They allege he has a bunch of criminal history, and they pulled up his mugshots. Apparently, this guy got a whole flurry. Boy, got the perm, bunch of mugshots, history, a lot of. This is the family advocate. This is the family advocate representing the Karmelo family. That's pretty wild to see. I already talked about the allegations, with the kid, was it the 2-year-old, and allegedly strangling a girlfriend and all this stuff. This is the guy that's very outspoken. I thought it was very nasty at this presser yesterday. And things are getting crazy. Things are getting kind of escalating. Check out this video. I've seen this flying around.
Hey, to all of the people who are against Karmelo Anthony, me as a black man in America, white people, I'm telling you and I'm telling you now, you ever even think to approach me, bully me, harass me, think you're going to be with your twin brother or twin whatever, and do anything to me, I too will poke you as well. Straight to the heart. And that's on self-defense. This is not the Jim Crow era. This ain't 400 years ago. This ain't 1619. This ain't back in them days. Y'all don't want to end up like Austin. Leave black people alone.
Wow. So it's taking it back to 400 years ago. Taking it back to Jim Crow, Rosa Parks.
To new developments on that deadly stabbing in Frisco. The suspect's family, for the first time, called a news conference to reject some rumors circulating online. Reporter Jobin Paniker says it all changed when the victim's father walked in.
But this part here, this is the dad, right?
What happened this morning is no different. We were all waiting to hear the Anthony family talk for the first time on the record. It was supposed to start at 11. 10 minutes turned into 20, then 30. The reason? Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, had walked in.
Now, if you guys remember this yesterday, this was delayed. I want to know what you guys think about Austin's father showing up to this event. First of all, I thought it was kind of really, we'll listen to it. I thought it was kind of messed up how the activist was like, you're taken away from your son or dignity and all this stuff. I was like, damn, that's so dirty. And he said it was disrespectful. The way I interpreted this, him showing up initially, is I thought he was going there to show and stand in unity, because he said he forgave the person that killed his son. He forgave him, and I thought that he was trying to be on some type of forgiveness and hold hands. So I was like, when I was watching it live, I'm like, yo, these people do not want you there. Also, I had a conversation with my friend. Him being there doesn't fit their narrative, because this is all racist. They said it's not. They say this whole thing is not about race, but the whole conversation has been about race. 400 years, and everything's race. They keep saying it's not race. Everything is race, and this doesn't fit the narrative. What's this white man doing here? The father that had his son killed. Doesn't fit the narrative, but some people say he didn't belong there. Some people say he belonged there. And the thing, I was talking to a friend about this. She was kind of, one of the things that had come up, because the whole thing of this situation is the tent. it's this public event, but it wasn't supposed to be under the tent. You know, and you could argue, well, this press conference was a public event. If they want to go with that analogy of the tent, that it was fine for him to be there, but they kicked this guy out and called the cops. I really hope, because my friend thought of it like this. My friend said that maybe he went there because he wanted to look them in the eye and show that he's not backing down. I didn't think that, but that's what she was saying. Maybe he went there because of that, to represent his son. I don't know.
Not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family, but he did it.
Karmelo Anthony's charged with
I really don't think he went there to be nasty. That's almost what it is. No whites allowed. I don't know. I don't know if there are any white people. I know they didn't want this guy
murder
there.
in his son's death at
Probably
a track
not.
meet in Frisco on April 2nd. Jeff Metcalf said nothing. He just
White guy
stood
right there.
and waited. The group hosting this told him to leave or they'd call Dallas police. The group's founder, Dominique Alexander, made this statement.
Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son.
I thought that was messed up in a way, but I don't know. I don't know what his intentions were to go there.
Jeff Metcalf was escorted out by DPD before the family arrived to speak. Ultimately, it was not a court order that made him leave, but because the owner of the building said he was trespassing.
Wow.
Metcalf shook hands with officers and then left. This press conference was about hearing from Carmelo's mom, Kayla Hayes, and we finally did.
We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you.
The family says they've endured threats, lies, and racial harassment over the last 2 weeks.
Our family has been under attack.
Mostly over a fundraising page they say they haven't been able to access until Wednesday. They're fighting claims they're profiting off of this or living lavishly from the funds raised.
We have endured death threats. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family.
We've asked for comment from Jeff Metcalf. He told us not to quote him. We're also told this will be the last time we hear from.
I really wonder why he went there. You know, I don't know. I thought the way they talked about him was really messed up.
That Karmelo Anthony was in fact the victim. But the problem is that when the press conference began, there was someone there that they hadn't inspected. And it was in fact the father of Austin Metcalf, standing quietly in the back of the room. And he stood back there and he waited patiently for the press conference to begin, didn't say a word. Karmelo Anthony's family and the advocate asked him to leave. He said, no, I don't want to leave. I'd like to be here and to view the press conference. Again, this is a press conference where they invited the public to attend. They wanted to get their voice out. They wanted to get their message out. But the problem was Austin Metcalf's father would ruin the entire narrative. Do you know why? Because the actual victim of the situation was Austin Metcalf. And his father is the advocate for his son. His father, by the way, who already came out publicly and said that he forgave Karmelo Anthony. And what was the response? What was their response from the Karmelo Anthony family to see the father there? Did they invite him up? Did they have a moment to say, let's try to have unity in this country. Let's not rip apart this community. Let's stand together and say, we're both very sorry about what happened. No, that's not what they did. You know what they did? They called the cops on him and had him thrown out of the press conference rather than have someone there, God forbid, who was an advocate and a representative for the boy whose life was lost, who bled.
I was shocked. This whole story has turned into Karmelo being the victim. He's the victim, and the family being victims. Jennifer Coffenheifer here says she made a post today. I don't think this guy is good for them, by the way. For the family, the Karmelo family, this guy representing them in his network, I do not think he's good. I think he's actually like bringing him down, in my opinion. You know, the person is hurting his client. He is foolishly making the argument that Karmelo Anthony plunged the knife into Austin Metcalf's chest because the track meet wasn't canceled due to the rain. Come on. this is an obvious setup for a grift against the track administration. So yeah, yesterday they were kind of bringing up a lawsuit, like insinuating a lawsuit because Karmelo was, I don't know, I guess suspended or just taken out of school. So people were kind of arguing that. My friend says she don't think they should have taken him out. Maybe they should have just let him finish the month or whatever he has left from home. But I mean, I don't know. How do you let somebody come back to school like that too? I don't know. But maybe you could have done the online thing. I don't know. This is an obvious setup. The Anthony family needs a solid representation if they have any money left after their personal expenditure. So people are arguing that. So TMZ did reach out to the CEO of Give Send Go. They haven't taken the money out. I guess now supposedly they have access to. And to be fair, their Give Send Go says they're going to use it for whatever, like other stuff, I believe. So it's not specifically for the defense. So if people want to send their money there, I guess they can send their money there.
I'm trying to find how many of y'all have asked the superintendent or one single board of trustee, why didn't you cancel or postpone? With weather in that magnitude, you couldn't have a track meet in rain.
Why didn't you cancel or postpone?
Trustee, why didn't you cancel or postpone? With weather in that magnitude, you couldn't have a track meet in rain or thunderstorm or clouds. Y'all are the media. Ask your journalists, your weather journalists, how the weather was that day and that time. Y'all do that research. Because as a person who is the administrator of your children, you are responsible for the safety of the children. And so it seems as if Frisco ISD is trying to push this off.
So this lady yesterday, she was mentioned. Okay, she was mentioned during the press conference, and I was shocked because she's on X, and I wasn't expecting her name to come out. And a lot of people probably wouldn't know. I just started seeing her post recently. I didn't know about her until this case, and he had referenced her post. Let me just play the clip.
Sarah Fields.
Sarah Fields.
Never heard of this woman. This is the kind of despicable things that led to the father being here. Political operatives motivating this family with hate. Karmelo Anthony posted on something that shows, posted here. These are the type of lies that are threatening this family. Posting the family's picture. These are the type of lies. She's getting millions of views on this. Sarah, she's even came after me. She's even said all of those things.
I was muted, sorry. He's upset because she broke a lot of this information. I'm going to get to that in a second.
And now that the public knows exactly what is going on, I ask, because these racist bigots try to prevent us from standing up for our baby, our boy, he should be afforded the same rights that Kyle Rittenhouse had.
Yes.
Daniel Pender. And all of the people who have claimed whatever their defense was, he should be afforded the same right. Nobody in the public media has one video camera, but we got the video of Kyle Rittenhouse with an AK-47 shooting 3 people in the back.
That wasn't an AK-47.
We got that. And he raised more than $2 million publicly, and nobody said anything.
There was a lot of criticism. A lot of people hated that guy. And people loved him too. I never really followed the case or the trial. I kind of wish I did. The Give Send Go thing, like I said, just like all those other people raised their money, I believe he does have the right to raise his Give Send Go. I mean, I agree with it, but he has the right to. and people were trying to get that shut down. Some of the same I thought it was a little ironic. The free speech people were trying to get it shut down and trying to, whatever.
So since they tried to come for us, I call for the community's overwhelming support for this fund. The disinformation that was put out was literally deliberate to prevent you from helping this family.
So Sarah responded, she quoted that, and she said, this is what, in her words, Dominic Alexander, a felon who beat a baby to the point of brain injury and is acting as an advocate for Karmelo Anthony's family, is angry that I exposed him for who he is, a grifting, racist, pot-stirring, running a fraudulent organization, allegedly. He called me out by name during his press conference. He held up my posts, including Carmelo's arrest, which I've obtained through a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, and a post in which I was threatened, a strange choice to highlight, among others. He claimed my intent was to interfere with Karmelo's family's receiving assistance. This man has placed a target on me and my family for reporting the truth and investigating him and his organization. This is who he is, and I will not be intimidated. I am no stranger to threats. I have received them nearly every hour for the last 4 days. It will likely get worse. Please pray for my family. And she's out there in Texas too, I believe. I think her profile says Texas. And I think he knew what he was doing. Yeah, she's in Texas. I think he knew what he was doing when he put her posts out there and mentioned her name. The only thing, though, I mean, she did get a lot of views. She is getting a lot of views. She has a big Twitter page. I thought it was the interesting thing when in the press conference, too, I thought like he kind of held up some papers, but you couldn't even see it. You couldn't even read it. I mean, he said pictures, but you don't even know the details of anything. He just kind of put it up in the air real quick and kind of moved on. And we've covered this guy, the same guy. The people are posting his mugshots now. I didn't know he had this many mugshots. My friend sent this to me this morning, and my reply was like, "Holy fuck, this guy has a lot of mugshots." I was like, "Damn!" But I'm not surprised by this. Yeah, the online activists, that have this type of, situation. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. And so last night, Jeff Metcalf, the father of Austin Metcalf, was targeted by a swatting call. Thankfully, he was not home at the time, but arrived 5 minutes later. This comes after he attempted to attend the press conference for Karmelo. So, and they confirmed Austin Metcalf's father targeted by swatting call. So he's actually being targeted. And it's just interesting. I don't doubt that, like, the family, maybe they're getting some racist threats or some criticisms. But the other day I covered, supposedly they were getting all these Amazon packages. People were sending stuff. People were donating, sending money. I think their Gifts and Go has superseded the Metcalf family. And the people that are saying they're being targeted, harassed, and everything else, and, threatened and everything. But when there's one thing of saying, and then you see the Metcalf family that's been kind of quiet, and you see what's actually happening to them. Actual people, cops showing up. Let me see, does this have anything to do?
His mother.
They came to
confirms to WFAA he wasn't home. Frisco police just confirmed a swatting call was made tonight to an address belonging to the victim's father. Now that's a prank call designed to bring a lot of police to a scene. Tonight, Jeff Metcalf confirms to WFAA he wasn't home when it happened, but he did arrive about 5 minutes later. Now, this is new information, and right now we're working to learn more details. But earlier today, everything stopped and heads turned when Metcalf showed up to a news conference called by the suspect's family. Tonight, Matt Howerton has a desperate plea from Karmelo Anthony's mother.
They came to speak for the accused. Jeff Metcalf came for his son, the father of all.
So what do you guys think? Should the father have not gone there? Metcalf's dad? Anthony Metcalf. Oh, my God. Austin Metcalf, the names, there's too many stories. Austin Metcalf, should his father have gone there?
Austin Metcalf surprised cameras at a press conference in Dallas Thursday, waiting for the mother of Karmelo Anthony to speak for the first time. Anthony, 17, now charged with murder, out on bond after telling police he stabbed Metcalf in self-defense. Metcalf's father asked to leave the press conference, and then it began like this.
The father being at this press conference. These are my words. Don't quote anybody. Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son.
I thought that was foul as shit.
Metcalf telling WFAA he was just there to listen.
I'm not here to create a disturbance. I'm just here to stand by and witness this press conference.
And shook the hands of officers before leaving. Since he was asked to leave the press conference, we asked Metcalf what he thought about those remarks. Thursday night, he told us he's not talking to any media right now.
Our family has been under attack.
Anthony's mother, Kayla Hayes, did eventually speak.
The claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false.
Emotionally denying her family has used any money from a Give, Send, Go fund that's collected over $450,000. The internet has suggested otherwise and has flooded Hayes' family with threats, she says.
My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom.
At the presser, it was also...
Somebody would say, well, shouldn't she be afraid to sleep with this guy in the house? You know. I don't know. See, the thing is with me, again, listen, Karmelo, he's going to have his day in court. He's going to have his day in court. He can defend himself. He has a lot of support. He's at home with his family now. You know what I'm saying? You can't say the same for the other family. So, like, all the tears and all this shit, too, you know, like, he deserves his day in court, but, like, the other family, Austin's dead. And it's not just that. I feel like the family, the Metcalf, has kind of tried to handle themselves with class. This representative of the Karmelo family is just nasty. He's just nasty. When I saw him yesterday, that was my first thing. And I sent a little tweet out or X out, whatever. I was like, this guy's nasty as shit. Like, he could maybe just, even if they kicked the dad out, maybe not mention it or bring up his son and his dignity and all this shit. That's just nasty.
Revealed that Frisco ISD has moved to expel Anthony weeks before he was supposed to graduate. An accusation of murder on school property results in an automatic expulsion per the district's code of conduct. Anthony could appeal, and an advocate suggested that may happen.
Thank you, and God bless you.
God bless you. All in the name of Jesus, dude. God bless you.
Look at the suspect. Actually, not really a suspect, because he has admitted that he stabbed Austin Metcalf unarmed at a track meet. Here is Karmelo Anthony as he is leaving the courthouse. Take a listen.
Karmelo, why were you armed at school?
Katie Barber joining me, mysanantonio.com. What happened at the bond hearing?
His attorney was asked about the knife, and he refused to answer a question about it. He just said for unknown reasons, Karmelo brought the knife to the school. But the district attorney also acknowledged that it was for unknown reasons. So they're not prepared.
That's going to be a big factor, I think.
Prepared to go into that conversation, but it seems to be the most pressing comment or most pressing detail about the case right now.
Okay, who asked who about why the knife was brought to the track meet?
Howard's attorney was asked by the media after the hearing about this. And he just said it would be irresponsible for me or them to say why he brought the knife, and they're asking the public to withhold.
Okay, so hold on, Katie Barber. Let me understand. I asked you what happened at the bond hearing, and you told me something that happened outside the bond hearing, but I want to follow up on that. You're telling me that Karmelo Anthony's lawyer was asked why Anthony brought a knife to the track meet. Do I have it right so far, Katie Barber?
Yeah, he was asked why he brought the knife.
Right, got it. Yes, got it. I got it the first time. So hold on right there. Lisa Herrick, veteran trial lawyer who has handled cases in juvenile justice. So the lawyer wouldn't answer why Anthony brought a knife to a track meet. Here's my question. I'm sure you're familiar with implicit intent to commit a crime. Are you not?
Yes.
For instance, If I say, okay, Lisa Herrick, I've got a gun, it's loaded, and now I'm going to kill you. Bam. That's explicit. It's stated, and the law recognizes that. But there is also implicit intent. For instance, if I reach into my gym bag and take out a knife and shove it into your heart, I don't have to say, Lisa, now I'm going to stab you dead. It's implicitly proven by my actions. I don't have to announce them. This is the problem Karmelo Anthony's lawyers are going to have. Implicit and explicit intent are equal in the eyes of Lady Justice. Under the law, they carry equal weight. Him bringing a knife and then using it to stab someone dead is implicit intent to commit a crime. That's why the lawyer wouldn't answer that question, Lisa Herrick.
Well, I just think it would be really bad for the lawyer to answer that. Regardless, you're not gonna answer that shit. I mean, you gotta go over the deed. That's for court. You're not gonna be answering that shit. Why? Publicly. Not at this point. They're gonna really. I think they have maybe a little bit of an uphill battle as far as murder maybe probably easier for manslaughter. I mean, they didn't know each other before. And the story is, he was under the tent. People argue about this, about whether he should have been there or not. Or some people say, they do it all the time. I've heard people say that it's customary, not you don't sit under the other team's tent. But regardless, he was there, right? And asking him to leave. And he didn't want to leave. And I guess he said, touch me, see what happens. Karmelo. And reached into his bag, and then Austin went and touched him, I guess, to move him, and he went and stabbed him in the heart. To do that, I mean, I've looked at Texas law before. To do that, you have to really feel that your life is under threat. You can't just because somebody don't touch me and they touched you, you can't just fucking pull out a gun or a knife and kill him. But that's also subjective. He could try to argue. He's going to say, well, I was in fear of my life. The whole thing is a lot of these people were going with he was being bullied. The whole thing online was the bully thing. And I understand because people can relate to that, whether it's them personally or their kids and shit, and people are fed up of it. So a lot of the stuff that was going on is, they were bullies. They were bullies. Both of them were bullying him. But both sides have said that these kids didn't know each other. Even the other, even Karmelo's representative said that. The one thing, though, because I feel like the representative, he's very underhanded with his comments. Because even during the press conference, he had mentioned at one point, he was like, "Oh, we have video evidence, that there's stuff on there we don't want to say, and there's conversation alluding to there's this other shit that either this was racist or whatever. I don't know. Why not put the video out?" Or a censored version or something. I guess they're going to leave it for court. What doesn't know? Does anybody else have access to the video? I'm going to try to find the clip. The way he said it is just kind of like almost like a threat. There's stuff we could release about Austin, but we're not going to do it out of respect. Some shit like that, I'll try to play it.
I think that's possibly why he wouldn't answer. I also would like to know what kind of knife it was. If we're talking about a large hunting knife, there's probably no reason why he should be carrying that. Maybe there is, and his attorneys just don't feel like disclosing that at this point. But if it's a small pocket knife or a Swiss Army knife, maybe he carries that for other reasons. Maybe he just
he could argue that maybe
happened to have it in his backpack and used it for self-defense. We don't know what kind of knife it was at this point, or at least I don't know. And I think that makes a difference. I think that matters.
You know what? I think you're right, Lisa Herrick. I think you're absolutely right. If it's a penknife or a folding knife, a lot of guys may carry those around. You're absolutely right. So the type of knife is going to be very important. It's my understanding it's a fixed blade. I don't know that. In other words, not a knife that you fold out. It's a knife with the blade attached, and it's not foldable. But we'll find out. That's a really good point. Isn't it interesting, Lisa Herrick, how one small fact can change the terrain, the topography of a case? Because if he shows up like a knife, for instance, out of the Brian Kohberger case, a fixed blade army knife, right? A military style knife with a sheath. That's much more menacing and much more of an implicit threat to commit a crime as opposed to a foldable penknife. You're absolutely right.
Oh, by the way, so we got to talk about this real quick too. Let me get you guys on a bigger screen. So there is a protest happening tomorrow. Frisco, Texas protest for Austin Metcalf update. Location changed to 1 mile. 1 mile to the stadium. Austin's blood is still fresh on the stadium bleachers. Really? We must address the horrific scourge of black violence against white Americans now. Protect White Americans, PWA, spoke to Frisco police today and is working with local and state authorities to ensure a safe, peaceful event. When I thought this was a joke, to be honest with you. I thought it was a joke. I totally believe they have their right to be out there, but I thought it was a joke, but it's for real. Happening tomorrow, 11 Central.
Hey guys, we have a massive update. The protest location has been changed from Wakeland High School parking lot 1 mile away to the Kai Kendall Stadium, where Austin Metcalf lost his life to a brutal stabbing by Karmelo Anthony. We spoke to Frisco police today. They said the high school parking lot will be closed, so we are having this protest Saturday, April 19th at 11 Central. Please be there at the Kai Kendall Stadium. May God bless you. Please be peaceful.
So I don't know if this is I'm wondering how this is gonna turn out. Is it gonna be crazy? Is it gonna be? I don't know. And this guy's profile. I think Jake Lang is the one leading it. It says January 6th political prisoner. So I don't know. I wonder if this guy was arrested or something, or was he caught up in that situation? I don't know. Matt Wallace has been promoting it too. This guy you have to really be careful with on X because he posts a lot of stuff that I think is misinformed. Because he said Frisco police imply that they will arrest protesters who show up. And that's not at all what they said. They actually said that. Well, let's take a look.
They are criminal trespassing. Ask those people to leave. Once they ask those people to leave, they are criminal trespassing, and then we will have to take enforcement action. So the parking lot cannot be used.
We can't have kids getting murdered and then the killers getting $500,000 and walking free. That's not fair. And so there needs to be a pushback.
Yeah, there needs to be a time for people to come out and speak, and to address these issues.
He's entitled to raise money. I know some people don't want to hear that. Some people don't like that. He's entitled. I mean, just like all these other controversial cases, you can't say it's okay for these other people and say that it's not for Karmelo. You know what I'm saying? Even if you disagree, he's entitled to raise his money. And people are behind it and supporting it. And Frisco Police here department is aware of a protest planned Saturday. So this shit's real. It's not a joke. This is real. Happening tomorrow. Plans are being made accordingly, and officers will be on hand to ensure the safety of the public while allowing protesters to exercise their First Amendment. So I'm curious. I'd like to, if they stream, I'd like to stream it. Pay attention to their feet. The level of disrespect is unbelievable. His life matters. Okay. Oh, I wanted to play this too.
$1 million bond, which was crazy. Today they reduced it to 250 grand, which is, still sizable, but he wound up getting out. All right, so Mark, first of all, the idea of race, I mean, you lived it with Zimmerman in a big way. There's so many people who believe that that's why Zimmerman wound up beating that case. But what do you see here? What are your questions? What will matter?
Oh, no, it's definitely a consideration. It always is, whether it's a sort of obvious what we're doing or the implicit one, because we all carry these implicit biases with us that perceive or impact how we perceive an event. Now, what's really it's going to come down to, and I disagree with the guy who said this is not a self-defense case yesterday. I think he said it. This is definitely a self-defense case, because it always is one until you look at the facts of the case and compare the two. You have to compare who was the initial aggressor. Was it an aggressive act for him to go up and say, get away from the tent? Did he do more than that? My understanding was maybe he touched him and put hands on him. Granted, that makes the decedent in this case maybe the initial aggressor. But you really still then have to look at whether or not Karmelo Anthony responded with appropriate force, he used a deadly weapon, and whether or not he was in imminent fear of great bodily injury.
That's what it is, imminent fear.
That's the standard in Texas and most every state to determine whether or not his actions, the way he perceived him, the way Karmelo Anthony perceived him when he took out that knife and stabbed him. The good part is if the decedent was the aggressor initially. The bad part for Karmelo, if in fact it's true that he sort of said, touch me and you'll see, because that's that aggression, that's that predisposition towards violence that doesn't have a place in a true self-defense case.
Right, that is the whole thing. Metcalf shouldn't have touched him. He shouldn't have touched him. You know? And Karmelo shouldn't have stabbed him. You know. But you can't. I mean, I just remember my concealed guy. Even though you don't need a conceal here in Florida anymore. But I went anyway and got it. But he was just like, you don't go looking. You shouldn't be going looking for situations, looking for fights, trying to provoke people. You should try to walk away if you can and de-escalate every time. If you're carrying a deadly weapon, every time, it comes with a big responsibility. You know? That guy, I forgot how many years he said he's been carrying. He said it's always on his waist. I couldn't even tell it was on his waist. He showed me. And he literally had an imprint on his skin, like the fucking gun. He lifted that shit. He's had that thing there. He wears it all the time. There's just the imprint in his skin of the. I couldn't believe that shit.
What's the most important question for you in this, Mark? And then I want the same from you, Professor, if you have one. Go ahead, Mark.
Sure. Who truly was the initial aggressor? How did this unfold such that if in fact he had a reason to believe in great bodily injury was imminent, was it reasonable? Was he pushed? Was he shoved? Was he hit? Because don't forget, it's of the moment, but you are allowed to respond to great deadly force with your own great deadly force, or at least your perception of great deadly force. So it's really going to be fact-based. I do think that race, it's going to be played out on social media. It also is going to be played out in a courtroom if you ever get there, because in today's day and age, I would argue.
There's a problem with the law, too, with like Texas. And I think I said this in another live. You're allowed to use force, and to the degree you reasonably believe it's immediately necessary to protect yourself from someone's unlawful force. Force is not justified if you provoke the other person. That's a part of the thing too, because people will say, well, they try to argue Austin provoked it, but by saying you're not supposed to be here and by touching him. But you saying, too, with a deadly weapon, saying to somebody, touch me and see what happens. I understand you shouldn't touch somebody. You should just leave him alone. I think you should, even though he didn't belong there. But for you to say that to somebody, too, that's what could work against Karmelo. And the other thing, well, they said did Karmelo belong at this event or not? Because I've heard so many conflicting things. Because the other thing they say is you were committing a crime at the time. That's another reason it wouldn't be justified. So committing a crime, having a weapon at that place could be committing a crime. You reasonably believe deadly force is immediately. So you can use deadly force to protect yourself from death or serious bodily injury. There is no duty to retreat, by the way. You have no duty to retreat if you had a legal right to be there. You weren't doing anything illegal. You didn't provoke the attack. But if you start the fight or escalate it, you may lose that protection unless you clearly try to withdraw and any other person continues to attack. That's what that guy told me. You just try to. You don't want to have to kill. You try to avoid situations.
That someone like Karmelo Anthony now has a heightened concern over the past few years and the way we've sort of degraded some of the progress we may have thought we made over the past decade, as far as how we're treating young black males in the system, such that maybe he would have felt more preyed upon than he otherwise would. Interesting. You're right. We're going to be talking about this for a long time.
Professor, what do you got?
With Zimmerman, what did Zimmerman claim? Because Zimmerman approached Trayvon, right? Zimmerman claimed physical assault first. broken nose and head injuries. Did he actually have? Was he actually, because they got into an altercation? Did he actually have that stuff? Karmelo has no visible injuries. Because some people are running with the whole thing, saying that he got punched. Some people were making some shit up, that they were seeing each other's girlfriend, that they knew all this bullshit.
Hello? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Right, Philosophy, right. Bear in mind, it's already a crime to have a weapon on school property. That's what's going to hurt him in his defense.
Professor. This is all about who the jury is. This will all be determined by the jury. If the racial factors were reversed, if a white man had killed an unarmed black man, everybody would be on the reverse side of this. We live in a society where everything is judged by race. You know, the Bible says to judges and prosecutors, don't recognize people, just do abstract justice. We're way, way, way beyond that. If the racial elements were reversed there, virtually all the people who are calling for him to be acquitted would be calling for him to be convicted, and vice versa. Let's not kid ourselves. We live in a race-conscious society, and jury selection, which, of course, your other guest is so brilliant at and did so well in the Zimmerman case, is determine the outcome of this case, without a doubt.
For me, it's as simple as, how do they feel about this proposition? Bringing a knife to a fist fight. Right. Mark O'Mara, we'll see what happens. Alan Dershowitz, thank you very much.
Yeah, I think that in itself is cowardly. But, you know, things are different this day and age. That's what people do. People bringing guns and knives and stuff. But, yeah, I think that is cowardly. You know, if they were able to show like a long history of this guy, you know, bullying or being attacked or something.
Really, what are
anything? But since they just had met each other, I guess that first time. Was this all muted?
Next Generation Action Network from the beginning has respected the loss of life. No matter our opinion of it, we have kept our opinion close. We have not attacked. We have not shared the information that was shared with us about Austin Metcalf.
You see? That's what I'm saying. He's saying there's like some type of insinuating, like there's some type of secret, you know, we're not trying to be disrespectful. We have information, but, you know, we're being nice. We're not putting it out there.
Because we respect the dignity of life and loss. And as a minister,
and a minister, bro, that's crazy. Minister. Wow. Damn. Okay.
From the Anthony family.
I would not attack a grieving family.
But that's all they have, though. I feel like they really have.
Even if I disagree with them. When I have stood before this podium for people who have died at the hands of law enforcement, I have asked for that same manner of respect. And even when the shoe is on the other foot, I will not do that. And all I'm going to say, so it don't be asked later, is that was disrespectful and just shows you all the character who is not invited. He knows that it's inappropriate to be.
So to me, he's like just kind of shitting on him. He's like, "Oh, we're not gonna," but he is.
Be near this family, but he did it. And so I say to people, actions speak louder than words. Okay? What he has failed into is the political operatives that he has failed into words. Okay? What he has failed into,
what he has failed into, is the
political operatives
failed it
that want to make this thing a political thing of hate, yet bigotry, and yet racism.
The father hasn't done that at all, though. Austin's dad hasn't.
We have conservative operatives that have been posting nonstop about this case. It is outright disrespectful. We haven't been doing it. The Next Generation Action Network has been here, popular and unpopular. So regardless of what's going on, that was disrespectful. Disrespectful. And I will leave it to y'all to define it. But of course we want to. Y'all, I'm Minister Dominique Alexander. I serve as the president of the Next Generation Action Network.
That's just crazy, man. Because, like, I just don't think he needed to do all that during the press conference. Okay, you didn't want him there. You told him to leave. You kicked him out, called the cops on him. But then to do this whole thing. And this stuff is going viral, the mugshots of this guy. I think that's why he's pissed off, to be honest with you, because it's all over X and it's like really blown up. And somebody here posted some of the charges, I guess, or allegations, or I don't know if they were deposed or what happened, but this is what's listed. Felony injury to a child, 2009, forging a check, 2009, post 2009. Leading police in a high-speed chase, post-2009, stealing a car, 2009, falsely claiming a car was stolen, 2009, offensive physical contact, 2015, probation violations, 2016, felony theft of property, 2016, felony assault causing bodily injury, 2019, misdemeanor assault, 2019, continuous violence against the family, 2019, theft, making a false report. Again, I covered this on a different video, a shorter video, and one of them was allegedly one of his girlfriends strangling. But I just think it's really interesting that this is the person representing the family. I understand. Listen, people have a history. Everybody, I mean, I don't have that kind of fuck. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But people have some stuff that happens and people change their lives, I guess. Things happen and stuff like that. But it's just odd. And I just feel like the way he's carrying himself and his demeanor, maybe he's just pissed because all these people, he's looking at Twitter and these people are coming for him. Maybe he doesn't like that all this stuff is coming out. Maybe that's why he feels so strongly. And if he really does, I feel like he's taking it out on the wrong person, the father.
Today I come before you with a heavy heart, but determined in spirit, not just as an advocate, but as a black man, as a father, as a protector, in community, and children. There are 4 critical points I must address today. And I want to make sure that the public and the media and
okay, so we're not gonna go through the whole thing. We know
escorted Karmelo Anthony out of jail is here present with us now. They are a part of the Next Generation Action. That takes about 2 to 3 days to withdraw from that and actually hit.
So they talk about the funds. They didn't have
We're all fraudulent.
Oh shit! Oh, the devil's a lie.
Yeah, I got you. All of the funds that was raised for the last week and a half, the Next Generation Action Network has engaged in communications with Frisco ISD to ensure that Karmelo Anthony's due process is not violated. We know that in the state of Texas, there are things that are discretionary things and decisions by the leadership of okay? We can't talk about it. So don't ask. There is a court of law that will.
I wonder why the lawyer didn't come out and do a presser or talk. Maybe he doesn't want to talk about it. But why this guy? Anyway, yeah, I think he's kind of hurting them, the family. I don't think he's, just my opinion, I don't think he's good for the family. And it's not even the history. It's not like the history. I can set that aside. It's not even the history. It's just like his demeanor and the way he talks and how he's just to me, it comes off as he's attacking the father. Attacking the father and going at him, and their kid's dead. You can do all this stuff and have the messaging. You don't have to, attack the father or the family. Crazy. All right. I feel like there was so much more on this, but I don't know. I think I'm fried from like just nonstop streaming, and there was a press conference on that shooting in Georgia. We could do that. I don't know, and then call it. We'll have to wait and see how this whole thing plays out. I don't advocate for like any kind of violence. I don't think anybody should be swatting at either side or threatening or anything like that. If people disagree, it's gonna have to go. But here it is.
Thank you, guys.
Witnesses out
to come in.
Cook is in critical condition, but it's likely that the Fulton County officer who was also there rendered life-saving aid. Take a listen to this.
Chief Keith Meadows, that's KeithMeadows, and I'm the chief of police with the City of South Fulton Police Department.
Oh, they got a merch site too. I forgot that. They came out. It's kind of, that was a little weird. Yeah, I forgot about that. What was the website? Justice for Karmelo. I just, the only reason I thought it was just with everything that's happening in the context, like, I feel like, okay, the gift send go is, okay, justice for Karmelo Anthony. But then to have this website and a merch thing, I don't even think the shirt looks good. Justice for Karmelo Anthony.org. I think that was the website. That's the website. Justice for Karmelo. I tell a story. Karmelo was a child drowning. What? Karmelo saw. Oh, he's a hero. I didn't even see that. Karmelo was a hero, saw a child drowning without hesitation, without thinking twice about his own safety. He acted, didn't wait. He didn't panic. He saved a life. So he saved a life, they say here. For Karmelo, I started Karmelo. There's the merch. Justice for Karmelo. Maybe some companies offering to do it. The truth. We're deeply saddened by the loss of life. Our hearts and prayers go out to the family and the fallen one. What happened that day on that tragic day will never be erased. But just as people often dig up someone's past to judge their character, let this moment speak loudly to Karmelo's true nature, a protector, friend, and hero. Who wrote this? The activist? I don't know. Crazy. I guess we'll see. We'll see, man. I'll play this for a
At around 11:40 this morning, Lieutenant Charles Cook was traveling through the remaining portion of unincorporated Fulton County when he observed a Fulton County police officer engaged in a traffic stop. It was at that point Lieutenant Cook stopped to assist the Fulton County police officer. Immediately after he exited his patrol vehicle, the suspect opened fire on Lieutenant Cook, striking him at least 3 times. Right now, Grady personnel tell us he's in critical condition. We ask for your thoughts and prayers for his full recovery. We've asked the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to come in and investigate the shooting itself. And so we've been in contact with Director Hosey, and he sent his personnel. They've since taken over the crime scene. And at this point, we will be cooperating with the investigation. It's unknown right now if the law enforcement personnel on scene is the one that shot and killed the individual. However, that is currently under an investigation, and we're still in the preliminary stages with regards to this investigation. So having said that, I would be more than happy to take any questions right now.
Chief, can you give us a sense of, did he get a chance to get out of the car? Like,
Justin Metcalf's father, Jeffrey, I heard about the essay. They said that from 2011, the father of Austin Metcalf was charged with SA, allegedly. And they pull up his picture and criminal. So yeah, that's another thing. That's kind of like, another person with some type of allegedly some criminal history, a weird one too. So it's messy, it's murky, it's messy, it's dirty. I guess we'll have to see what happens. All right, guys. I'm gonna head out for now. I'm gonna rest. We'll see what happens later, but I'm just gonna chill for now. All right. Nothing on Austin's dad of SA. That's not him. It's a different middle name. Okay, they're saying it's a different person. Austin Metcalf. They're saying it's a different person. Father. So they're saying a different middle name. All right, I have to look into that then and confirm. So it's not, somebody here posted his middle name is Charles. I have to look into that and see. They're saying it's him, but no. There's a lot of posts, people saying that's him. I don't know. All right, guys. I'll catch you later. Bye. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It's been crazy. It's been wild Friday. So much crap, man.